Well, as promised, I ordered this set of ARP thread cleaning chasers, and I just thought I would show you here exactly what they are. Here they are in the package. I'm going to cut one of these out of here off camera and we'll take a little closer look at it. Okay, I pulled the 3/8/16 tap out of here, and I'm going to try and see if I can't, I'll lay this down here and see if I can't zoom in and you can read what this tap says on it. Okay, that's probably as close as I'm going to get. Okay, so it's branded ARP. Oop. Come on, back to focus. There we go. Well, every time I'm moving it's not going out of focus. I'll back up some, take some of the other stuff out of the picture. ARP 3/8/16 national course. What do you see there? H3. Remember we talked about H3? But you notice there isn't a G in front of it. So this isn't a ground tap. This is just an H3. More than likely it's not a high-speed steel either, because it would just be an HSS if there was a high-speed steel. And then it says clean out. This happens to be a 3-flute tap, which, there we go, which what that does is, rather than a 2-flute or a 4-flute, it doesn't break as easily as what a 4-flute would, but at the same time there's a little bit more room for dirt and debris to get in between the flutes, and also it's fairly easy to start in straight into the hole. So what I'm thinking is this is nothing more than a 3-flute tap, non-high speed steel, just a standard hardened steel with a little bit of a coating on it, maybe to give it a little extra strength. I don't know if you can see the thread form there, but the thread form is definitely not rounded off like they say it was. It looks just like any other tap tooth form. So whether this tap set was worth $127, I don't know. I looked up individual 3-flute taps in I think it was MSC, which isn't certainly not one of the cheaper industrial suppliers, and I came up with, for getting the same size what this set is, probably about $75–80. But those are all also ground high-speed steel taps. They weren't non-high-speed steel, non-ground. So they were actually a higher quality tap than what these are. So I'm not sure whether these are necessarily worth the money. I bought them mainly, more than anything, out of curiosity, and the taps that I did have, I've used so many times, were pretty much done for. So I was planning on getting new ones regardless. But the so-called clean out portion of this, that's nice. It's labeled clean out. Basically, this is just a plain old, in my opinion, high precision, because since it's an H3, but other than that, low quality material tap with a coating, maybe to provide a little bit more wear resistance, which is probably why they recommend that you do not tap a new hole with these, not because there's some special clean out like they're calling them, or chaser set, but basically because they're not going to hold up to tapping a brand new hole. But I don't know, I just thought I'd show you that, and if anybody else has any more information than what I have, maybe know a little bit more about these so-called thread cleaning chasers, I'd like to hear it. I'm looking for facts, not just speculation and BS. So I don't know, I just thought I'd show it to you. I just found a short discussion of a 3-fluted taps and its advantage in a engineering mechanics book on Google Books, and I thought I'd show a little bit what it says here about it. Let's see, if a hole is in sound media of a uniform degree of hardness and is round, the form of tap has but little importance, providing it will work easily and cut a clean full thread, but if the hole is not round, the case is quite different. Thus in figure 6 we have a 3-flute tap and a hole out of round at A. It is obvious that when a cutting edge meets the recess at A, all 3 teeth will cease to cut. Hence, there will be no inducement for the tap to move over towards A. But in the case of a 4-flute tap in figure 7, when the teeth come to A, there will be a strain tending to force the teeth over towards the depression A. How much a given tap would actually move over would of course depend upon the amount of clearance, but whether the tap has clearance or not, the 3-flute tap will not move over, while with 4 flutes, the tap will certainly do so. Again, with an equal width of flute, there is more of the circumference tending to the guide and steady the 3-flute and the 4-flute tap. If the hole has a projection instead of a depression, as in figure 8 and 9, then the advantage still remains with a 3-flute tap, because in the case of 3 flutes, any lateral movement of the tap will be resisted at the 2 points C and D, neither of which are directly opposite to the location of projection B. Hence, if the projection caused the tap to move laterally, say 1/100th of an inch, this was written in the 1800s, so it's a little bit different, but anyways, the effect at C and D would be very small, whereas in a 4-flute, the effect at E would be equal to the full amount of lateral movement of the tap. It is quite true that the 4 teeth will cut easier than the 3, but against this we have the fact that the 3 will tap a more parallel hole because it will work steadier. If I were making taps, I would probably give them 4 flutes, because as a general thing they would be preferred and the work they do is as good as the general mechanical world demands. But if I were going to have the work strictly examined, I would use 3-flute taps, even though it took a little more time and trouble. So basically, a 3-flute tap will follow the hole a little bit better. If there's any sort of a protrusion or low spot in the hole, it will not tend to follow that low spot or protrusion, whereas a 4-flute will. So it's obvious that a 3-flute tap is probably the better tap to use if you're trying to clean out a thread and not take out any extra material, which is probably the main advantage to the ARP tap, is the fact that it is a 3-flute tap.